People think I can't do this. What, people think he's going to knock me out? He ain't knocking me out. I could not care less. I'm pinning you to that canvas and having you.
And we're going to set the record straight. I won the first fight, but I won it in a fashion which I was proud of, but at the same time, there was disappointment in that victory. I wanted to make sure that he didn't see the...
Conor Benn erupts after Chris Eubank Jr. vows to knock him out in 3 rounds because Eubank had been teasing him again and again, saying he would finish him this time. When Eubank crossed the line, Benn's temper finally exploded and his tone showed real anger and frustration.
I believe I'll knock him out in 4 rounds.
Do you have a message for Eubank?
No message, he knows. I think a lot enough's been said.
Eubank Jr. saying, "I've got my hands on him now, and we're going to do it even better," is pure provocation and precision wrapped together. That line alone lights a fire under Benn, forcing a reaction. Eubank Jr. looks calm, focused, and hungry while Benn fumes, and I fully expect him to push for a stoppage this time.
Yeah, I just want to get my hands on him. I've got my hands on him now. I've beaten him. So now it's kind of like, all right, well, we're going to do it again. We're going to do it even better. Let's see what happens, you know? It's a different energy.
Do you see yourself knocking him out this time round?
I think so.
Tony Bellew saying "no you're not" lands like a taunt, and it sparks the whole saga. Bellew insists Benn may be the purer fighter, but Eubank Jr.'s swagger and fight IQ turn that debate into drama. Expect Eubank Jr. to answer critics with action, not words, and force Benn into mistakes.
I think Conor is a far better fighter than Chris Eubank Jr. is a boxer.
Technically, yeah.
And that's the problem that Chris Eubank Jr. is having. He's got this thing in his mind. He's a masterful boxer. No, you're not.
No.
I'm sorry, no, you're not.
Gareth Davies admits he still sides with the bigger, stronger man, and that admission says a lot about how this fight looks on paper. If Benn hit Eubank with everything and failed to hurt him, then fatigue became Benn's enemy, not Eubank's. That paints Eubank Jr. as the one who can absorb pressure, control exchanges, and push the pace when needed. Benn's heart is obvious, but heart without the finishing power leaves him chasing a man who finishes the smarter fights.
This time, but I'm still swaying towards the bigger, stronger, more experienced man, because Conor Benn hit him with everything last time, and he didn't, to me, seemingly really hurt him. Fatigued him at times, but didn't really hurt him. And I thought I noticed Conor was the more hurt of the fighters during...
Brian McIntyre's blunt refusal to see a Benn victory underlines how complete Eubank Jr.'s position looks. Saying Chris is winning everything from press conferences to the ring shows dominance that goes beyond punching. Knowing exactly what to expect from Benn removes surprises and gives Eubank Jr. control over strategy and tempo. Benn's chances dwindle when the opponent sets the narrative and the rhythm. This is not just a physical mismatch, but a psychological one where Eubank Jr. has already taken the lead.
Question for me to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway, Bomac. Is there any way you can see that Conor Benn beats your guy?
No, I can't, for the simple fact that it's hard to beat the guy that already didn't beat you. I mean, I could see that Chris is beating him at everything: the press conference, the stare downs, the fight. To me, he got his number, you know, and I think he's going to be in a better position coming into this next fight because Chris knows what to expect.
Duke McKenzie saying he would be shocked if Eubank loses puts pressure on Benn from the outside in. Starting 2 or 3 rounds up mentally is a huge advantage, and it forces Benn to chase rounds rather than make them. Benn's performance will be judged against that psychological deficit, and every round could feel like a deficit from the first bell. If the judges in the crowd already favor the narrative of Eubank's control, then Benn will need to force moments of real damage to swing the tide.
Seen the fight, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. I'd be shocked if Eubank loses. I don't really see that happening. Again, he's fighting a career best welterweight. He knows that. From a psychological perspective, when you know you've got a smaller guy in front of you, you kind of start 2 or 3 rounds up in your own mind. So, like I say, when you look at the fight, it wasn't close enough to warrant a win for Benn. He didn't win it.
Eddie Hearn's plea for smarter tactics highlights the gap between bravery and ringcraft. Telling Ben to be a little bit smarter implies that raw courage alone will not nullify Eubank Jr.'s plan to walk him down. Ben must combine heart with discipline, or he will be picked apart by timing and movement. The pressure will come physically and mentally, and a lack of composure will only play into Eubank Jr.'s hands. Smart boxing beats reckless aggression every single time.
I mean, you have to follow the weight classes. You have to follow directions and orders, and that's why we have weight classes. For 1 pound makes a huge difference. I mean, this guy was almost fainting trying to make...
Johnny Nelson's view that he saw no real improvement is a warning sign for anyone banking on Ben's progression. If there is nothing noticeably better, then Ben must rely on heart alone, which is a risky strategy against Eubank Jr. Without evolution in technique or strategy, mistakes will be punished and opportunities will be denied. Eubank Jr. only needs to stay disciplined, pick his moments, and force Ben to prove growth under pressure rather than promise it.
From Chris, I saw no more improvement on what we've seen. And so in seeing that, I'm thinking the guys that are out there, you've got to, I don't think that's...
Adi Oladipo admitting the bigger man won frames this as a contest of size and adaptation rather than bravado. Realizing you can hurt the opponent changes the dynamic and gives confidence, but it also makes the stakes clearer. Ben may have a shout if he refines his approach and finds those moments, yet Eubank Jr.'s control over size, timing, and ringcraft will make that path narrow. This fight will be decided by who can impose strategy under pressure, not by who shouts the loudest before the bell.
Ultimately, in the end, sort of bigger guy won it. The rematch is going to be interesting, I think. He's now realised that I can hurt that fighter. I've felt the other fighter's power. Next time, I know what's coming. I think he might even do better in the next one. Yeah, I think he's got a shout to win it.
And Eubank's older.
I get these fights, but you do want to see Ben, can you kick on to try and win her?
Hamza Shiraz backing Ben inside 6 rounds is bold and risky because the weight narrative has already been tested. Eubank Jr. now knows what that cut felt like and how to manage it. Believing he will crumble again ignores how he adapted. If Ben cannot force that same physical collapse early, the fight shifts in Eubank Jr.'s favor as rounds stack and fatigue reverses. Shiraz's pick fuels Ben's hope, but Eubank thrives when doubted, and that confidence will drive his performance.
What's your prediction, Ben or Eubank?
I've got Conor Benn to win inside 6 rounds. I feel like the weight will affect Eubank too much on how it affected him before as well. And it was a hard fight. It wasn't an easy fight. Yeah, Conor Benn to win inside.
Paul Smith pointing out that Ben avoided the traditional root cuts deep because it questions his legitimacy at the elite level. Jumping the ladder to fight for millions puts a spotlight on gaps in experience. Eubank Jr. climbed through the hard yards facing tested opponents, and those lessons cannot be skipped. Ben's ambition is commendable, but fast-tracking through the ranks can backfire under pressure. This fight is not only about pride, but about proving who truly earned their spot under the bright lights.
Actually fight the big fellas on. Listen, Conor Benn's possibly one of them fighters. He hasn't gone the British title, but all of a sudden he's fighting for millions of pounds and talking about him fighting for the world title. I'm not disrespecting him saying that, but he's conveniently avoided the fighters on the way up that had the British Commonwealth.
Zach Parker captures the likely adjustment perfectly. Eubank Jr. went into the first fight dismissing Ben's power, but this time he plans to box smart and control the distance. Expect him to keep the jab busy, frustrate Ben, and slowly break him down. The late rounds will reveal conditioning and composure where Eubank thrives most. That balance of confidence and caution could make the difference between a slugfest and a strategic dismantling. Ben must evolve fast or get timed out by precision.
How do you see it going?
I think Eubank will do a better job than we did last time. I feel like he just thought, oh, he can't hurt me, so I'm just going to have a brawl with him, but I feel like he'll box him this time and maybe take him out towards the late rounds.
Dave Coldwell wonders if Eubank can go to the well again, and that is fair, but this version of Eubank Jr. looks refreshed. Experience counts when the fight drags deep, and few can dig as calmly as he does. If it becomes another hard 12 rounds, his discipline and rhythm will matter more than youth. Ben needs early chaos to stop Eubank from settling, because once Eubank finds his groove, the rounds disappear quietly into his control.
And I don't think at this stage Eubank can do a lot more else. He'll try and do what he did, on fight night. It's whether he can go to the well again. I don't think so. If the fight becomes as hard And if it says the pace and ferocity of a first fight, I'd be very surprised and I'd be amazed if Eubank can do it.
Duke McKenzie saying he is not his dad sums up the issue perfectly. Ben fights with emotion, and that emotion clouds his judgment. Eubank Jr. commands respect because he punishes recklessness, and Ben learned that painfully. Declaring knockout predictions without having knockout power only fuels Eubank's motivation to humble him again. This fight will not be decided by legacy names, but by who listens to logic under fire. Eubank's precision and Ben's rage will collide, but only one will stay composed.
Really his style, Conor Benn. Conor Benn's not a massive puncher, not even at welterweight, so really he's kind of mugged himself off a little bit by saying, I'm going to knock this guy out. He didn't give Eubank enough respect. Like I say, he was throwing shots at several points in that fight, and he wasn't even looking where they were going. It was just like head down, just winging the shots over.
George Groves' words hit with experience and insight. He paints the picture of Eubank Jr. standing on top of his mountain, savoring a peak moment that few ever reach. But Groves' warning carries weight because fighters often lose focus after such highs. Yet Eubank Jr. does not seem ready to fade. He thrives on proving himself again and again. When Groves says, "You can't top that feeling," Eubank takes it as a challenge, not a statement. This fight is his chance to show that his hunger still burns stronger than ever.
I think maybe Conor Benn beats him. I think if I was Eubank, my point was at the time, I was like, mate, like you have just climbed your Everest. You've just headlined a stadium. You've beat what is now a rival in spectacular fashion in terms of getting the win with your dad by your side and all the hooting and hollering that went on, amongst it. You can't top that feeling. I don't begrudge you if you want to earn more money out of the sport, but be careful because you look way past his best.
Brian Bomac McIntyre's statement gives a clear look into Eubank Jr.'s preparation. The focus is on growth, not repetition. His words, "he is improving," show that Eubank is evolving every day, not relying on past skills. That kind of commitment separates a contender from a champion. When you have a coach praising your discipline and execution, it means something special is building. Eubank Jr.'s improvement in sparring means sharper timing, cleaner shots, and better adaptability, which could be devastating for Conor Benn once the fight begins.
Camp.
Man, this sparring is great, man. Got some great guys come in. He's really doing what we asked him to do. He's improving, and that's the best part.
Barry Jones keeps it real with a brutally honest take. He believes this fight will test both men's limits just like before. The first battle was exhausting, and another one promises pain and pride colliding once again. His line, "You still have to make Eubank the favorite," reveals the respect earned through Eubank's grit and endurance. He knows how to dig deep when things get ugly. Conor Benn might charge in with power, but Eubank's patience and experience could break him down over time. It is not just about who hits harder, but who handles the storm longer, and Eubank Jr. has lived through that storm many times before.
And so this fight can only harm him, because that was a hard fight, the first one. This one will be another hard fight, whoever wins, unless there's a real freak occurrence, unless someone gets caught with a shot really early, then it's going to be a hard night, which you still have to make Eubank the favourite again, like I did the first time.
As the rematch draws closer, the energy around Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn feels like a storm ready to burst. Every quote, every stare down, and every comment from fighters and pundits has built this into more than a simple grudge match. It is about legacy, about pride, and about proving who truly stands on top when the talking stops. Eubank Jr. carries the calmness of a man who has been through fire before and come out sharper, while Conor Benn burns with the rage of someone desperate to rewrite the story that once humiliated him. The tension is electric because both know that defeat would echo far beyond the ring. Eubank Jr. looks more complete and mentally sharper, while Benn is raw, emotional, and explosive. One fights with precision and the other with fury, and that contrast is what makes this fight impossible to ignore. Every second inside the ring will be a test of control, power, and pride. The night will end with one man silencing the doubters and the other forced to face his reflection in defeat. If you are ready for war on every level, make sure you are there to witness history being written again.